Hello and welcome to another video from UNM.NU. This is your University of New Money. Now for some reason my computer has been fairly slow today, so I'm going to try to get through all my lineups because Chrome's been acting up, and then I'll go and do my analysis. Let's see if this works. This was my best lineup out of 20 for the 25-cent tournament. I don't think I had any lineups where I had 6 of 6 making the cuts, so it was not a successful week. Still a fun week. Very glad golf is back. Can't wait for the RBC Heritage. I might cut down my entries next week. I might just end up doing single entry in like the Millionaire Maker, a single entry tournament. Cut back my tournament exposure. I was just really excited for golf being back this week, and I'm glad I played. I think my best move of the week was fading Webb Simpson. As in my last video, I actually had him in one of my 20 lineups. I changed him to Rory McIlroy. That was a great move. Webb Simpson missed the cut. Rory actually got me $3 on Friday because he was the best player in round 2. And with DraftKing giving $50,000 for the best player in each round, I actually got like $3 out of Rory. So, still not a great week, but glad I faded Webb and played Rory instead. Very exciting tournament this week. Let's see if this can work. So, Brooks Koepka, 9.3% ownership, tied for 32. I enjoyed playing him. He was the lower owned player in that range, the high 9,000 range. At least he made the cut. Dustin Johnson missed the cut in that same range. Same with Rickie Fowler. But not a hugely successful week for Brooks. You expect a lot more out of him than tied for 30 seconds. So, depending on what his salary is, I still expect his ownership to be fairly low next week at Harbour Town. Justin Rose, 8%, $9,000. This was a steal. His salary is probably going to go way up after this tournament. As clearly the break was good for him, changing clubs back to TaylorMade, I believe. Just having the break and changing clubs again, he's back in form. Always a world-class player. Glad I had him. Wasn't enough to save my lineups this week, but he actually got me the most money this week because he was the best player in round 1, tied with Harold Varner III. So I think I got $6 out of him out of one of my Millionaire Maker lineups. So thank you, Justin Rose. Matt Kuchar, 13% ownership, a huge bust for me this week. He was -3 late into round 2 and ended up getting a double bogey and missing the cut by 1 stroke at -1. Very disappointing. Always a huge fan of Matt Kuchar, usually pretty reliable. Wasn't horrible coming out of the break, made some huge putts, but overall disappointing missing the cut. Jordan Spieth, I think one of the highest owned players I had this week, and I knew it coming into this tournament. His course history was amazing, but his form is horrible. I went pretty big on Jordan Spieth, and I was glad I did. He ended up T10. He was good the first 3 rounds. Today, on Sunday, June 14th, 2020, not so much. But overall, pretty good tournament for Jordan. I expect his ownership to be higher next week. Harbour Town, another course where I would think you favor accuracy and maybe good putting. I think Jordan Spieth may be over-owned next week, so I'll probably end up fading him. His game still isn't totally back. Showed a lot of shakiness today. So we'll see. Billy Horschel, 12% ownership, T38 at $7,400. Not bad. Had him in several lineups. Corey Connors at $7,100 was my best cheap player, 3.6% ownership, T19. Not enough to save my lineups this week, but a good pick. Usually plays well here at the Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial. See if it goes to my next lineup. This lineup finished second in the 25-cent tournament, so I ended up cashing my top 4 lineups in the 25-cent tournament. Ended up getting $2 out of my 20 lineups in the 25-cent tournament. So again, it wasn't a successful week, but a lot of fun anyway. Glad golf is back. Let's see if it ends up loading here. I don't know why it's not loading. Yeah, very strange. Okay. I think it finally came up here. So in this lineup, I had Bryson DeChambeau, 10% ownership. Ended up T3. Missed the playoff by 1 stroke. I was huge on Bryson coming into this week. He'd been working out hard. He's just huge when you look at him on a golf course. Just like a lot of players in this tournament, if he could have gotten a couple more putts to fall, could have ended up winning this tournament. Still very encouraged by him at 10% ownership, one of the lowest owned, high-priced guys this week. His ownership will probably go way up after this week, depending on his DK price next week. So we'll see. I'm always a fan of his, so kind of want to play him, but we'll see. Again, Justin Rose went over him before. Daniel Berger ended up winning the tournament. I had him in several lineups. Finished the winner this week. Not enough to save my lineups, but good week, Daniel Berger. Congrats. Kevin Na and Sergio Garcia. Had them in several lineups this week. Kevin Na won the tournament last year. Missed the cut again by 1 stroke. Sergio Garcia, he was a guy who was 3 under, just like Matt Kuchar on Friday. Ended up with a double bogey on the last 9 holes, and that just killed him. He missed the cut by 1 stroke. So another lineup that if I could have just gotten 6 out of 6 players to make the cut, should have finished a lot higher, but that was my week because I just couldn't get any 6 out of 6 lineups to make the cut. And let's see if this lineup will load. This one scored 4 less points. Okay. Come on. Yeah, I apologize for the delay here. I don't know why my computer is so slow today, but I guess just like my golfers this week, just didn't live up to its performance. So, new players on this list: Jason Day, 6.6% ownership, +2, missed the cut. Still not playing well after the break. Geez, I mean, unless his salary goes way down, in which case he may garner way too much ownership. I don't know what to do with Jason Day. We'll just have to see where he lies next week. Not playing well at all, so I'm probably just going to fade him regardless of his price or ownership. Matthew Fitzpatrick, pretty good week. Tied for 32nd, 11% ownership. -6, just pretty consistent throughout the week. Never really had a chance to get into the tournament, but solid, never in doubt of missing the cut. Let's look at the next lineup. This is my last lineup to cash. Scored 4 points less. Again, I had a player pool of about 20 players, so you'll see a lot of the same players in a lot of my lineups, so I won't have to go through a lot of these in detail, but Kevin Kisner, tied for 29th, 10% ownership. Another decent pick this week. Eric Van Rooyen, very disappointing. He was my cheap guy, another cheap guy along with Connors at 7,100. Connors had a great week. Eric missed the cut, 3% ownership. He hurt me in a lot of my lineups. Again, in this lineup, had he made the cut, I would have had 6 out of 6. Very common theme. That's the way it goes. You know, it's hard to get 6 out of 6. With a small player pool, I was just hoping to hit it big. If just a lot of my players make the cut, I'm going to have a lot of 6 to 6, obviously. Just have certain players like Kuchar, Sergio, Van Rooyen missing the cut, killed my lineups. Louis made the cut, not good on the weekend, tied for 55th. Nobody else really worth talking about in this lineup. And then we're on my 6th lineup now. And none of these lineups made any money, just the top 4. Again, not a profitable week. I ended up losing a lot of money. It's money that I could afford to lose. I was very excited for golf being back, so I didn't mind taking risks in the Millionaire Maker and 3 max tournaments. I did the Pat Mayo tournament, which is rake free. I'll be playing that again next week. So I won't be playing as much next week as I did this week. I'll probably be doing a lot of single entry lineups, so a single entry into the Pat Mayo tournament, a single entry into the Millionaire Maker, just probably the biggest single entry tournament that DK has to offer, which will be less entries than I had this week. But I was glad golf is back this week. But next week I feel more like getting back to my single entry ways. That's where I've usually had the most success. So we'll see. Still glad golf is back. Like I said, I made $6 off of Justin Rose, best round in round 1, tied with Harold Varner, the third. Rory McIlroy, best round in round 2, got $3, and I got $2 out of this tournament. Didn't cash in the Millionaire Maker, didn't cash in the Pat Mayo tournament, but fun week. So in this lineup here, no new player. Shane Lowry missed the cut, +4. He was a low-owned guy at $8,600 who we knew was going to be low-owned. World-class player, won the Open Championship last year. Just not a good week. Bad pick. Sorry. So getting down to my 7th lineup here. Let's see here. Let's see if it'll load here. Again, that last lineup, Lowry and Nam missing the cut. Very disappointing. Let's see here. This lineup scored 394.5 points. Nobody new in this lineup. Kuchar, Garcia, just guys in the low or to mid 8,000 range who usually you expect to make cuts, compete in tournaments. They're older guys, but this was a shorter course this week at Colonial. Just didn't pan out. Again, they're both -3 on the backside. I felt very comfortable with them making the cut. And it was Louis who I was going to have to sweat in the afternoon, but they missed the cut in the morning session on Friday. Couldn't believe it. So this next lineup had 379 points. Andrew Putnam, he's a new player on this list. He had 2.7% ownership. He was my cheapest guy at $6,800. +4, tied for 122nd. Didn't have too much out of him. I didn't want to go much into the below $7,000 range. I still expected better things out of him. He's usually a good approach player, but Andrew Putnam, another guy who is just very disappointing. My next lineup, 374.5 points. See if there's anybody new in this lineup. Harris English looks like a new guy here. 21.7% ownership on my other highest owned players this week. Missed the cut at -1. -1 is that range where usually you expect players to make the cut at -1, but Colonial played super easy this week with the super hot weather in Fort Worth. They had to water down the greens. Short course. A lot of world-class players here, so you just had excellent scoring conditions. Harris English, a high-owned guy, and a guy who I had a lot of ownership in. Very disappointing week. Jason Day also missing the cut. I don't know. I don't think I'll be owning much Jason Day until he really turns it around. Brooks, I might go back to this week again if he has low ownership projections. Justin Rose, I think he's going to have way too much ownership next week. Corey Connors, being a low-priced guy, we'll see where his salary goes. This next lineup, 3 guys missing the cut. Nobody new here worth talking about. So yeah, it's only going to get worse and worse from here, but I kind of want to go through these lineups if I can. Again, I apologize for the slowness of my computer today, so just filling in the rest of it while it's loading. Looking forward to RBC Heritage next week, Harbor Town. I already watched Pat Mayo's video earlier today. Great work, Pat. I always appreciate watching those. Looking forward to the tournament next week. Disappointed that it looks like Tiger's not going to play next week, as A lot of people were trying to track his yacht, and it seemed like he was going to be in South Carolina, but I guess things just didn't work out. So nothing new in this lineup. Let me go ahead and click the next one. That way it loads. Again, without salaries being out, and I haven't really done much research for next week. I don't know if I have that much to talk about. Probably not going to have Daniel Berger. He won the tournament this week. Again, a lot of it comes down to price, but guys who I'm just initially thinking I'll be interested in, looks like nobody new in this lineup here. So next, Webb Simpson. I think he's a guy who burned a lot of people this week. People won't go to him next week. Seems like his game sets up pretty well for Harbour Town. So I definitely would have interest in Webb. Probably not Rory, probably not Rahm, who missed the cut. He was the second highest priced guy this week, missing the cut. Didn't have any of him. That was a good move, but didn't help me out much this week. Justin Thomas had a good week. Probably not going to have much interest in him. Bryson, man, after this good week, I think his price is going to go way too up, which might keep his ownership down, but I don't know. I think people are going to be very interested in him, as maybe people who didn't follow him during the break and watched the tournament this week didn't realize how huge he is, as he's very intimidating on the golf course. Let's see, nothing new in this lineup. So next. Just going down the list for my memory. Dustin Johnson. He's the guy who just couldn't get anything going this week. Like Jason Day, well, who's way lower priced. I don't know if I really want to go to Dustin Johnson. He's a guy who has huge potential. Long off the tee. I don't know if that's going to serve him well at Harbour Town. Rickie Fowler, he couldn't get anything going this week. He's usually popular. I don't know if his missed cut is going to hurt his ownership much next week. Collin Morikawa, man, I just wonder where his price is going to go next week. He lost in the playoff today. Brutal missed putt in the playoff, lipped out, just like Xander, who had a brutal lipped out 3-putt on 17, same hole as Collin Morikawa had in the playoff. A lot of guys missed brutal putts this week. I mean, Bryson, if he had made any, could have won the tournament. Justin Rose had a chance. I don't know if I want to go through the whole list of players, but yeah, I mean, yeah, Xander and Justin and Bryson. You know, congrats to Daniel Berger. He deserved it. Made a huge putt on 18 to get into the playoff today. Looking at this lineup, nothing new. Oh, okay, Ryan Palmer. He's a new guy who I haven't actually got to. Very disappointing. 15% ownership. Colonial was his home course. +4 T122. So yeah, Ryan Palmer didn't do me any favors at $7,400. Very disappointing out of him. I think he was like the first one, or one of the first ones, to tee off on Thursday morning. Just couldn't get anything going this week. Other players I might be interested in. I mean, again, there's a core group of players who I like to play usually week in, week out, especially if they're going to come off of bad weeks and have lower ownership. Matt Kuchar and Sergio being two of them. I had that lineup in the Millionaire Maker and single entry tournaments. It was Justin Rose, Sergio Garcia, Matt Kuchar, Louis Oosthuizen, Matthew Fitzpatrick, and who's the other guy I'm missing? Let's see. Justin Rose. Jordan Spieth. So those are the 6 players. So again, like Jordan Spieth, great tournament. Justin Rose, great tournament. Louis Oosthuizen at least made the cut. Disappointing weekend. Sorry, I'm just going off of memory here. Try to pay a lot of attention to golf this week, so I had my lineups memorized, especially my top ones that I was encouraged by. Fitzpatrick, decent weekend, made the cut. But it was Matt Kuchar and Sergio Garcia who really disappointed me. So I might go back to the well this week. They weren't totally off, just those double bogeys killed them on Friday. Just looking at this lineup here, nothing really new there. 5 more lineups to go. Let's see, Sungjae Im, he's the guy who made the cut, was decent, usually has high ownership, plays a ton of golf. He'll be at Harbour Town. I think he'll be high owned again. Patrick Reed made the cut. Tony Finau. We'll just have to see. I don't know. The big Americans who are going to miss the tournament, it looks like again this week, are going to be Tiger Woods and Patrick Cantlay. So this lineup, geez, 4 guys missing the cut. So you can see a lot of the same players I had of. For me, I like to usually diversify a lot more. Which isn't the greatest strategy. I mean, based on the experts I hear, is I think you should have a smaller player pool and just go for it. If you guys miss the cut, then you're just going to have a bad week, and that's what I experienced when I have a more diversified or larger player pool. I guess I have more players to root for, but at the same time, I don't know. I'd rather just focus on a small player pool and hope I hit it big. That way, if I just have the right combination, hopefully I hit it big. If not, if I just have a small player pool and allow them to make the cut, at least I'll have a lot of 6 of 6. I didn't have that this week. When you're more diversified, you're going to have more guys making the cut, but you're also going to have more guys missing the cut. So I guess I'm going to have a small player pool next week since I'm planning on doing single entry tournaments. So I'll have a player pool of 6 most likely. So just off the bat, Webb Simpson is probably going to be a part of it, but we'll see. Other than that, I haven't really decided yet. This lineup, nothing new here, not great. 3 more to go. Yeah, glad golf is back. It's definitely strange not to see any fans out there. You can tell the grass is thicker in the rough. No grandstands, but given I've never been to a PGA Tour tournament, I enjoyed watching it on TV. It's great coverage. Jim Nantz and everybody, Nick Faldo, enjoyed hearing them. Just great to have golf back. Usually I play more NBA, more MLB, and more NFL, but after this, I might become more of a golf fan, as I've always loved golf. Golf is the sport that I play. I've been playing since I was like 10 years old, so I love golf, and just to have that sweat, as I was hoping to have a sweat on Sunday, since I couldn't have any lineup 6 of 6, I didn't really have that sweat today, but I still love the heck out of this tournament. Very exciting. Lanto Griffin, I just saw his name on the score, or on the FedEx leaderboard since I'm watching it, the replay on my television. Lanto Griffin was a cheap, high-owned player, this guy who missed the cut. So I wasn't alone not having any 6 of 6 lineups. A lot of decent guys missed the cut, which was surprising, but that's the way it goes. I'll have more analysis videos coming out this week for Harbour Town. It's a fun course in South Carolina, a lot of water. You got to be accurate. Small greens. So I'll probably be going after those approach guys again. Which scares me with Collin Morikawa, as I knew he's going to have high ownership this week. Hits a lot of greens. He could have won the tournament. I just don't know. Like to play that ownership game, and I see Bryson, he's on my television right now. I felt great about him. 4th highest priced guy, low ownership. Had a chance to win the tournament. I just think now he's popular, but he is one of my favorite players, so I might have to play Bryson anyway and go from there. So this is my worst lineup. Look at this, 5 guys missing the cut. So anyway, that's the 20 lineups that I had in DraftKings this week. I'm glad golf is back, because I didn't want to play Korean baseball, I didn't want to play League of Legends, I didn't want to play UFC. Golf is one of my favorite sports. I think I'm going to load up on it. Can't wait for NBA to come back, can't wait for MLB to come back, NFL, we'll see. But, you know, it might be time to just go in more into golf and make it one of my top sports, not just my fourth favorite DraftKings sport, but to be tied with MLB, NBA, and NFL. I think that's where it's headed, is I really had a lot of fun this week, especially working from home. I got to watch a lot of the tournament. I enjoyed Shot Tracker. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad golf is back. So, hope you guys had better look at DraftKings than I did. If not, hey, what's great about Daily Fantasy is now I can forget about this tournament. It was a great tournament to watch. Horribly unsuccessful for my bank account, but it was money that I could afford to lose. It's not like I put that much money into it, as I'm not a big-time player, so I didn't lose that much. Again, I put more money into Bitcoin, which went down this weekend too, but hey, it just makes it a better buying opportunity. When Bitcoin goes up, I enjoy making profits, and when Bitcoin goes down, it just is a better buying opportunity. So same thing with DraftKings. If I do well, can't wait to play the next week and try to make more money. This week was a poor week. So you know what, I can't wait to play again next week and just forget about this week and try to hit it hard again. Is got to have a short-term memory. Try to build some momentum. Didn't get any momentum this week, but hey, I still enjoyed Justin Rose on Thursday, Rory on Friday. It was fun tournaments, so I think I'll stop it there. We'll be in touch.